Hey guys, it's Scott here and thank you for clicking this video. I hope you're all doing well. I recently got asked in a video comment if I could do a rank guide for Olympus, so here we are. I thought that was a great idea and hopefully it will help those of you out who might need it or are just looking to get out of a certain rank and achieve either a badge or a dive trail. Hopefully these tips will help you get the RP that you need. As always, if you do enjoy the video, please do give it a like and do drop a comment below. I would really appreciate it, and maybe share it with some friends who you might think need the extra RP or are looking to better themselves in ranked. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best player here, but hopefully we can all take something and learn from each other. So if you do have any extra tips, do feel free to pop them in the comments below. Without wasting too much time, let's get into it. So my first tip would be right at the start of the game, and it is of course thinking about your drop choice. Now, Olympus has plenty of good drops where there's great loot. I mean, we've got energy, we've got rift, we've got hydro, there's oasis, gardens, bonsai. There's plenty of different places. The thing you want to be doing with ranked is keeping an eye on where these teams are landing and which side of the map most of the teams are going. What I would recommend is you land away from the majority of the teams, and you might be thinking, but I want those early game kills. Early game kills are great, particularly in the lower ranks, but as you get higher and higher up, you want to be avoiding those 50-50 gunfights. So what I mean by this is if you're dropping at gardens with another team, or two teams even, your loot is severely reduced and you might only end up with a Mozam while someone else ends up with a 301 and a purple shield, and we all know how that is going to end. What I would do is keep an eye on where everyone is dropping, maybe land a little further away from most people, and if there's one other squad going there, try and land on the opposite side of the drop area so it gives you a chance to loot up before engaging in a fight. Early game kills are great and can really help out your kill multiplier, but do remember you don't need to go chasing every kill in ranked, as of course you can only max out up to 6 kills or assists. So honestly, you can pick those up towards the end game as well. There's no huge rush to get those kills early on. My next tip would be thinking about your team composition. Now, this can be quite important, can really affect how your team plays together. Say one of your teammates chooses Crypto, but you're a Bloodhound main. Really, you don't want to be taking up a legend slot by choosing Bloodhound if you already have a Crypto on your team. They're going to do most of the recon, and having Bloodhound really isn't going to benefit your team anymore. Playing someone who might need mobility, so say we have the Crypto teammate, and say your other teammate either plays Lifeline or Gibraltar or something like that. Balance that team out with a mobility legend such as Horizon, Pathfinder or Wraith. Having someone who can take your team around the map as fast as possible, especially with the different high grounds in Olympus, can be really beneficial, and being able to get out of those situations quite quickly if you do get caught by a third party, which we all know is quite popular on Olympus, and I will get into this later. Being able to get out of those situations can really save your team, so I would highly recommend thinking about the legend you're playing, trying to balance out your team with perhaps a movement legend like Octane or Horizon or something like that, so you can easily traverse the map. On the flip side of that, if your teammates choose Horizon and Octane, a Bloodhound or Lifeline would probably be a great addition to the team, or even a Gibraltar, as we know Olympus is very open, so a Gibraltar can always drop that dome shield and protect you from those third parties. My next tip, and this is probably one of the biggest I'm going to give you, and it is all about your positioning and rotations. Now, positioning early is always great in ranked. Having that ability to gatekeep teams out can be really useful, and you don't want to be the team that does get caught out of the ring, especially in the later zones. I've come across teams who pinpoint that end game by scanning the recons and just set down ramparts, Watsons or caustic traps, and honestly they 99% of the time come out on top. They have that initial lockdown area and no one's really getting past it. Of course, this can only work in certain areas, but I have seen it happen quite a lot. What I would recommend you do here is try get the early positioning as you can, but also when you're rotating, think about where you're rotating through and what you're trying to achieve. For instance, if you need to go through Hammond to get some loot, maybe think about not going through Hammond and maybe taking Turbine or Energy instead. Hammond is a very busy area, and as soon as anyone hears gunshots there, because it is so central to the map, people are going to be rushing right at you, and the chances of being third-partied gets a lot higher. If you're taking fights in gardens or rift as you're rotating, you're less likely to get third-partied as it's a quieter area and a bit more away from the center of the map. Just think about the rotations and the places you're rotating through. So if you need extra loot, maybe rotate to another high loot area on your way to the circle. It might have already been looted, but there may be something there that someone has left behind and could be really useful for you. However, do think, actually, do I need to go through this area? We know a lot of teams landed there. There's probably going to be people there now. There's just been a fight here. Maybe we should avoid it and go around and go for the position, as we can pick this team up on the other side when we're more in the circle. Otherwise, we could get gatekept. And just thinking like this will really help you out. Thinking about your positioning, your rotation. Of course, ranked, those kill multipliers really start adding up towards the final 5 teams, and you want to be aiming to get at least top 5 to really get some ranked RP. Doing this through your positioning is going to be the best way to do it. So think about your rotations, think about positioning well, and always, of course, going for the high ground where you can, and taking out the enemies below you. The high ground is a very valuable thing, and don't underestimate it, because most of the time, if you have the high ground, you're going to come out on top. The other tip I'm going to give you is think about your loadout, and what I mean by this is in ranked, and particularly in later games, in later ranks, sorry I should say, you're having more long range fights, so having that ability to also get involved in these can really rack up damage, but having the ability to crack the enemy teams and take their shields off and then go in for a push is really going to help you out and can really give you that upper hand to take out another team. So think about your loadout. Maybe not running an R99 and a Mastiff together is going to be that great. You're not going to be pushing everyone and anyone as if you would in pubs. Think about maybe taking a G7 or a triple take. I've even seen the single fire hemlock becoming very meta. Think about taking a longer range weapon and then having a close range SMG or shotgun to help you with those close range fights. But a lot of the fights I've been seeing, particularly on Olympus with it being so open, are more long range and more medium range, so you want to be able to have a weapon that can deal with those fights as well, and not just leaving it to your team on the chance that they might have a long range weapon. There's so many times where I've been able to get a G7 or a triple take and knock a member of their team, and then of course it's led to a push on our part and we've managed to take down the whole team. As soon as one enemy on the team is dead or knocked, you're automatically given the upper hand. So think about pushing a fight. Of course, do think about your loadout and have that second weapon as a close range weapon for when you really need to deal damage quickly. And my final tip for you guys would be thinking about the fights you are taking. Olympus is very known for its third parties, particularly in ranked, even 4th and 5th parties at some points in the map, depending on your location. Now, of course, you want to be avoiding these, but you also want to be taking your opportunity of being the third party, and that's where you'll get a lot of kills. If you know there's team fighting, maybe holding off till a couple of their members are down so you can swoop in and get some extra kills wouldn't be a bad idea. However, you want to avoid becoming the third party, as that's where you'll start getting taken out and losing most of your RP. Taking those mid-game fights in Olympus isn't the best idea because there's still probably a lot of squads left, and gunshots can be heard around that map very far. Of course, early game fights and late game fights are probably the better choice here. Being able to get those kill points, of course, will help you rank up faster. And getting them towards endgame, where you're most likely to know where most squads are, or at the early game, if there's 1 or 2 teams near you for the loot pool, will most likely where your kills come from. And this is what will get you your RP for your kill multiplier. Just think about, obviously, when you're rotating, maybe avoiding certain areas and avoiding certain fights, because you've got to think when the mid-game fights, when there's more people around, if it's a saturated area with a lot of teams, you're going to get pushed by another squad. I guarantee it, particularly on Olympus, as honestly you can hear the gunshots for miles away. So honestly, really think about it. Think about taking the fights and try get them either late game or early game, and avoiding those mid-game high saturated areas of where every squad is going to be and where every squad knows where you are. But also think Could I push this squad while they're fighting another one and take them out and get some easy kills? So it's that balancing act. We all hate third parties, but unfortunately they work, and it's probably going to work for you if you go around it as well. Anyway guys, those are my tips for Olympus Ranked. I hope this did help you. If it did, of course, please do give it a like and let me know in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. Of course, you can follow me on Twitch or Twitter. The socials are in my description. And this one has been a little different. It's not been as scripted. I kind of want to talk to you guys one-to-one and make it a little more natural. I hope that kind of came across. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.